Keith Wallachan, welcome to the program, and I want to say at the outset I appreciate you sticking to the commitment you gave a few days ago to turn up, win, lose or draw this morning on Insiders, so thank you for that.
My pleasure.
So, is it a win, lose or draw for you, first of all, in your seat of Menzies? At the moment, our ABC count has you losing the seat, but are you still hopeful you might come back?
I'm told from those that are in the counting room it's still too close to call, but it is a long shot. So it's more likely than not that I will lose it, but not at conceding stage yet.
All right, so what do you put the result down to that we've seen nationally for the Liberals, which is clearly a crushing defeat?
Well, before I do that, I have two tasks to do. One is it's my daughter's 10th birthday. I said I would look down the camera and wish Eva a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Eva.
Very happy Eva, birthday Eva from all of us.
Thank you. The other is to my opponent, Gabriel, who sent a text message about Eva as well. I want to congratulate him and his team. He should be very proud, and he's a decent person, and if he is the member for Menzies, he will be a good one. I also want to thank the people of Menzies, my party, my volunteers, my family and everyone who ran as a candidate and people who lost their seats throughout this country. Some really sad losses for our party, but I am confident that the party will rebuild and our future is still a bright one.
Still, last night we've seen the Liberals, I think as Peter Hartcher put it, all but evicted from the cities, from the urban seats right around the country. Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, Hobart, where you didn't have a presence. But how do you feel about that, and what do you put that down to?
Yeah, this is something I've turned my mind to for 3 years, ever since on election night, was only 45 votes ahead last time, and it was clear that our party has an issue in urban Australia, which is where most people live. Most people live in cities. So we need to turn our mind to that like we have never done before. We need to really dig deep and think about who we are and who we fight for and who makes up Australia. And I saw that clip from Simon Birmingham. He is right that there are professional people, professional women, younger people who are worried that they'll ever own their own home again. We also have multicultural Australians and people who don't have a memory of the Howard Costello era. And so we need to acknowledge the cities that we live in, not the cities that we used to live in or think that we live in.
And are there specifics that you're getting wrong, or the Liberal Party's getting wrong, that are really hurting your chances with those people you talk about? I'm thinking of the work-from-home idea that had to be killed off. Was that the sort of thing that is going to turn off women in particular?
The specifics of those I'm going to leave for the review, because the review can't just be any other review. It's going to have to be a serious review that takes time, and there will be hopefully many chapters. But more importantly, I hope that it's a review that's not just put on a shelf somewhere. It's actually one that's read again and again and again.
Is that what happened last time?
Well, perhaps. I mean, there were chapters and paragraphs in that I think we offended throughout the campaign. But again, that's for the next review. And it should be a serious one. It should be a comprehensive one. And because there's a lack of metropolitan members in the party room, I think we need the rural and regional members who I have great respect for and I admire them, and they have done an amazing job to put themselves in the shoes of Australians who live in an urban area. And that's where we can't just go off perception. We have to go off the perspective of someone else. And if we do more of that, then again, I think our party has a bright future.
So how do you do that? Because half of your party room will still come from Queensland. And, of course, the Nationals will have proportionally a bigger say in the joint party room meeting when the coalition all gathers together. So how do you champion in the voice of the very few remaining urban-based Liberal MPs?
I think we listen, and so whoever the leader is and whoever the senior team is, but everyone, if you're in that party room, that is a great honour. I think we need to get out into this country, come to Melbourne, and if I'm not there, I will be a constructive voice for the party. I will help them try and solve this problem so that we can provide a vision of hope for the country, because I think as a party we're very nostalgic. We look back to our heroes, whether it's Menzies or Howard or Costello, and that's great. But I think we need more than the rearview mirror. I think we need to look through the windscreen and say this country's best days are ahead of it, and we can be a force for good about aspiration, opportunity and hope. If we do that, again, I think the Liberal Party has a bright future.
I appreciate you want to go through the process of a review looking at the policies, but there is one policy that I need to ask you about: nuclear. Did this hurt the Liberals in the cities, and should the Liberal Party stick with nuclear power?
Again, it wouldn't be fair on me to dissect that particular policy, but everything should be on the table and that should be analysed. So, again, whether it's through focus groups, internal discussions and talking with experts, but we have to listen to Australians. They have sent us a message and our first task is to hear it, and that often takes time.
How would you describe the campaign that Peter Dutton ran?
I think, again, when there's a result like this, you have to acknowledge things went wrong, but I'm not going to pick that apart here on the Sunday afterwards. That's for the review. But likewise, if we had done better, then people would have said it was all perfect. There were things that were done well, there were things that weren't done well, but the review needs to go through all of those and have honest conversations with people.
Was Peter Dutton himself a problem?
I've greatly admired Peter Dutton as a leader and as a patriot of this country, his service to our country. And again, I'm not going to criticise Peter on this. My heart breaks for him and his family. And again, I thank him for his service as a leader of our party. And let's not forget where we were through this term, that there were periods where there was great successes. And that's down to Peter and his leadership. But again, all of this will come through in the review.
What about the economic approach taken by the Liberals in this election, opposing a tax cut from Labor, promising to reverse it, promising two deeper deficits over the coming 2 years? What did you make of the economic policy offering?
Again, I won't dissect the particular policies, but I will say this. I think with what's happened in the United States, people are looking for predictability again. And if you're putting policies to the electorate in the final few weeks of a campaign, they feel like it's unpredictable. So if we are true to our values and we prosecute the case early, and some of the things we need to prosecute are how do we address debt? How do we address productivity in this country? And if we do that in a constructive way and early, run the case, run the arguments, I think then Australians will trust us that we may be given the authority to be in government one day, but we have to earn that back again.
The party now has no leader, with Peter Dutton out of the parliament. Who should it turn to?
Well, I'm probably not going to be in that party room, so that's not a choice for me, and I respect my colleagues and their decision, and that's a process that they'll go through. So
you know some of the contenders well, Angus Taylor, Susan Lee, Dan Tehan. Am I talking about the right names here? Is there anyone I'm leaving off the list, Keith Wolahan?
Look, because of where I'm at with my seat, it would be no surprise I'm not on any of those phone calls right now, but we'll see how the count goes. But again, I respect all of those names, and there may be others that aren't on the list. I'm not going to inject myself into that decision.
No, well, I'll try one more time,
Sure.
as is my want. But the three I mentioned there are the three, I guess, main contenders, and they all represent regional areas of the country. You're talking here this morning about the need to get back to focusing on the urban areas to regain ground there. Are there any options in the cities? Julian Leeser was mentioned by someone to me. Are there options that you have in the city that you should be looking to lead the party?
They're all good people, but again, this is where perspective matters. You don't, for instance, people have commentary on war or veterans and haven't been to war or veterans, and that's okay. You can be a good Prime Minister and leader of a metro area if you have perspective, if you put yourself in their shoes, and all of those names, they're all capable of doing that.
All right. Well, what about your own future, Keith Wolahan? If you don't come back there in Menzies at this election, will you come back in 3 years' time and have another crack?
I don't know. I'll see how the count goes. There are still many thousands of votes to be counted, and I'll enjoy Eva's birthday today with her, as she deserves my full attention. She hasn't had it for a long time, and same with my son Leo. I love them both very much, and I'll spend the rest of today with them, and in the coming weeks we'll gather as a family, and we will rebuild and regroup. I wasn't born here. I served this country overseas, and there was times when I might not have come home. So I'm a very grateful person to my family, to my country, and I'm so grateful to the people of Menzies who gave me that chance. And if it was just for those 3 years, I thank them for it, and it was the honour of my life.
And I just wanted to ask you about that, because viewers who may not know, you're a barrister, you're a former Special Forces soldier, you speak Mandarin, you're someone who's worked very hard, a little bit, OK. Well, you've worked very hard, better than me, I'm sure, over the last 3 years trying to win back the votes of Chinese Australians to the Liberal Party. You were seen by quite a number of your colleagues as a potential future leader, the hope of the future for the Liberal Party. So how does that feel for you now? You would be aware of that expectation on your shoulders. to lose your seat and to see the party crushed as it was last night. How does that feel personally?
Look, again, it's you let yourself go to the process, and you know, I saw some of those comments and they're flattering, but I'm grounded and humble. I always thought my first task was to hold my seat, and it looks like I won't, and that's on me. I take full responsibility for that. I don't blame anyone else. You know, that is for me. But I am grateful for the opportunity that was given to me. But I'm still a youngish man, and I love the Liberal Party. I believe it is a force for good in Victoria and this nation, and I will always be loyal to it and be there to help it.
Well, Keith Wolahan, as I said, we do appreciate you joining us this morning in difficult circumstances, but a very happy birthday to Eva once again. Thank you.
Thank you.